Hello and welcome to a new lecture in our course How to Use VI Like a Pro. My name is Ahmed from Radionics. In this section, we are going to deal with basic editing techniques in VI. We saw in the last lecture how we can use the characters H, J, K, and L to move one character at a time, left, down, up, or right. If you have a look at your keyboard, you will see that these characters are adjacent to each other. So you have the H followed by the J, followed by the K, followed by the L. If you put your fingers on these four characters, you will be at the right place to move one character at a time inside your VI text. So if we have a look here at our editor, these lines are pasted from Lorem Ipsum site. It is a site for generating random text. So the text is just random. It doesn't make any sense. But we are using it here to demonstrate the VI techniques. So if you pressed on the L, as you can see here, I'm pressing on my L and I'm moving one character at a time to the right. I can press J because I'm already at the top of the document. I'll move one character down or one line down at a time. K to move upwards, as you can see, and H to move left. Okay, so it's H and L, move left and right. J and K to move up and down. Another thing to note in VI is that you can precede the movement key with a number in order to move the specified number of times. For example, you can use 4H to move 4 characters to the left. Let's have a look here. So here I am at the end of this word at the S. So if I pressed 4H, I moved 4 characters to the left. I can press, for example, 5L. Okay, I moved 5 characters to the right. I can move upwards, for example, 2 characters. So if you can see, I have jumped 2 lines upwards. Okay, and the same thing holds for down. So by typing 6J, I have moved 6 lines down. So here you can see that we can precede the movement character with a number, and mostly all VI commands can use this technique. You can use any VI command in the command mode just preceded by a number, and it will be executed that number of times, as we're going to see later in this lecture. To learn how to move inside the line, you have to know that VI considers a line, if you can have a look here, VI considers a line not to be the visible space for you. So this is a line in VI only because it contains a new line character at its end, okay? And if it's the second line, for example, because this is the first line, normally it's the first line, but in the second line, for example, what makes this make a new line in VI is that it has a new line at the beginning or before it and a new line after it, okay? And VI by default sets the normal line to 80 characters. So if this line in the screen exceeds the 80 characters, it will be automatically continued at the second line, but it's gonna be a one line in VI. To illustrate this more, I will paste some text from Lorem Ipsum here. Lorem Ipsum, as I said before, is a site that is used to generate random text. So I'm going to take this paragraph, for example. This paragraph is all one line. I'll copy it and I'll paste it here for you to see. Okay, so this is one line of text. If you want a proof, if I try to move down, okay, as you can see, the cursor is not moving. It's moving up and down, but here it's not moving. This is entirely one line in VI because it begins with a new line, and the new line that ends the line is far here. Okay, so this is basically more than 80 characters in length, and this is why VI considers all this as one line. Okay, so in order to move inside the line, you can use the 0 to move to the beginning of the current line and $sign to move to the end of the current line. So if you can see here in our very long line, if I pressed the $sign, as you can see, the cursor moved here to the end of this line, which is a very long one. If you want to see here, and you can see here I'm moving with the arrow keys. I shouldn't do that. I should move with the K, as we said. If I use the 0, I am at the start of the line, okay? And if you use $, I am at the end of the line. As I said, because this is a long line here, if I press 0, I am at the start of the line, but if I press the $, I am here, and I have spent a lot of lines in my trip to move to the end of this line, because as we said, this is a very long line. Moving inside a VI text is not only one character at a time. This might be very daunting for you if you want to move in blocks or in chunks. So VI provides you with some more commands and functions that makes you jump inside the file. The first one is the W. The W makes you move inside VI word by word. But the W in its small case letter, it considers the punctuation marks like the comma, the semicolon, any other punctuation mark. It's considered a word. Okay, so if you have a look here at our example, and let's go to this paragraph we have just pasted. Pressing W considers the punctuation mark as a word. So if we are, for example, here, let's move until we find, I'm sorry, okay, yes, this, okay, and if you can see here, the cursor is at the word system, and as you can see here, it considers the comma a new word, so it's starting at the start of a new word, which is the comma, okay? But if you have a look at the capital W, here, if I used capital W, okay, let's move backward. We can move backward with the B, as we're going to see in a moment. And if I use the capital W, it skips the comma, and it considers the comma to be part of the word that precedes it. So it considers a system, and comma is a whole word, and it jumps it. So if I'm using the capital W, as you can see here, I am jumping over the punctuation marks, but if using the small w, it stood here at the start of the comma because it considers the comma to be a new word. And we can also move using the E command. The E command moves to the end of the word instead of moving to the start of it. Okay, so if you are here and you want to move to the end of the word, as you can see here, I'm moving here with the W, but I'm moving with the E. As you can see here, it moved to the end of the word builder, okay, the end of the word of, human, etc. And as you can see, it also considered the dot sign to be a punctuation, to be a word. The punctuation here is considered as a word, so it moved to the end of the word, which is a one-character word. Okay, so it stood at the dot, okay, and at the comma, as you can see. But if I use the capital case E, it won't do that. As you can see, the small e stood at the end of the word pleasure, and then it jumped to the punctuation comma, and then moved to the end of the word but. But if you use the capital E, okay, it jumped over to the end of the word pleasure, and it didn't stop at the comma, as you can see. So here, in order to illustrate this more, I'm using 3 E's to move to the end of the word but. 1, 2, 3. Okay, but I'm using only 2 capital E's to move to the end of the word but, which means that it ignored this comma, it ignored the punctuation, and it did not consider it to be a word. So this is one way to move inside a VI file in chunks, but we have been moving forward. In order to move backward, and as you saw me do, you use the B. Okay, B will let you move a word by word in a backward manner. And also we have a small b and a capital B. It holds the same thing for the punctuation. So I'm using here the B to move backwards. And as you can see, I'm standing over all the punctuation marks. Okay, but if I use a capital B, you can see it jumped here. If you have a look at the cursor, it jumped the punctuation mark, and it's continuing to move backward without paying any attention to the comma. Okay, so this is the difference between B and B, W and W, E and E. Okay, it's all have to do with the punctuation marks. The small caps consider the punctuation marks as a whole word, while the capital ones consider the punctuation mark as part of the word and it ignores it. So you will have to choose for yourself which type of movement you want inside the file. Now, how if you want to move to, as we said, how if you want to move to a number of words at the same time? As we said, all the VI commands can use the numbers to preceding the commands to execute these commands the specified number of times. So, for example, I want to move 4 words at a time. I'll use 4 followed by W. As you can see, it jumped 4 words. I can use 5W to move 5 words. Okay, and if I am, for example, here, and I want to move back by 3 words, okay, so I'm here at the third word from the left, okay, 5B, and the same thing holds for the W, capital and small. For example, it's 5 large W, and here it jumped over the comma here and the comma here. It did not consider them a word, okay, and it got me to this 5th word, punctuation ignored. Okay, now probably you have seen me doing this. Okay, 1G, and G here is a special command in VI. G stands for go, and it's a capital letter G. So if I press 1 or I press a line number and then G, the editor or the cursor jumps to that line number. So if I press 4G, I am at the 4th line. You can see here 1, 2, 3. This is the 4th line. If I type 6G, I'm moving to the 6th line. And if I type G all by itself, okay, I am at the start of the last line in the file, which is this line. Okay, maybe this is confusing you because it's a very long line. Okay, but if I have, for example, I can copy this, and later on I will show you some ways to copy and paste in VI without using the normal Control V and Control C, Control X. Okay, so let's move to the start of the document and then go to G. Okay, as you can see here, we have moved to the start of the last line in the document. Okay, so you will have to memorize this, but by time you will find that it's a second nature to you. It's very easy to use it inside your documents.